Aita for refusing to let my daughter-in-law take my late husband's wedding ring? I'm wondering if I'm being too harsh. Story 1. I'm a widow in my 60s. My husband passed away 10 years ago, and I've kept his wedding ring in a little box with some of his things. It's nothing fancy, just a plain gold band, but it's one of the few things I still have that feels like him. Sometimes, when I miss him, I take it out and hold it. It's been a real comfort over the years. My daughter-in-law Jenna has always commented on the ring when she visits. She'll say things like, "It's so timeless," or, "I'd love to wear something with that kind of history." I thought she was just being nice, but last week, she came right out and asked if she could borrow it for a while. I didn't really know how to respond at first. She said wearing it would help her feel closer to the family and honor my husband. I told her I wasn't comfortable with that. The ring is so personal to me. It's not just something you loan out, it's a part of my memories with him. But Jenna didn't seem to understand. She got upset and said she didn't think I trusted her and that I was being selfish for keeping something so meaningful to our family locked away. She even said it would mean more to her to wear it than for me to just keep it in a box. My son didn't really say much at the time, but later, I got a text from Jenna. It was long and emotional. She said she was hurt, that I was treating her like an outsider, and that maybe I was too stuck in the past to see how much this would mean to her. She even hinted that I was being controlling, which honestly broke my heart. Now, some other family members are saying I'm overreacting, and that it's just a ring, but it doesn't feel that way to me. My husband and I were married for 35 years. That ring has been with me through everything, good times, bad times, raising our kids. I don't want to sound dramatic, but it feels like a piece of him is still with me. I can't imagine letting it out of my sight. I'm starting to wonder if I'm being unreasonable though. Jenna seems to think I'm trying to shut her out, and the last thing I want is to cause tension in the family. I don't know if I should apologize or stick to my decision. Aita? Relevant comments. Commenter. She's not even related to your husband. Like, a child requesting it I can see. But it's her father-in-law's wedding ring? LOL, she can get fucked. She has zero claim to it. NTA commenter. Who are these family members saying your late husband's wedding ring is just another piece of jewelry? That's bananas. NTA, but your Dill and any family members encouraging this lunacy is. She was wildly out of line to ask for the ring. This is crazy. Even if it was your son, his son asking, that would be iffy and totally reasonable to say no. The wedding ring was a special symbol between you and your husband, no one else. This is wild. Also, if the ring isn't that big of a deal, then it's not a big deal to wear it. Can't have it both ways to those saying it's not a big deal. DIL, while I appreciate that you want to form stronger bonds with our family, this isn't the way to do it. That ring isn't something I would ever loan out or give to anyone else. It is a symbol of my 35-year marriage to the love of my life. It was inappropriate for you to ask for it in the first place, and wildly inappropriate for you to react this way to me saying no. I really can't believe this even has to be said. Damn. Also, I would hide the ring when she or your son are over, or wear it. First of all, I want to thank everyone for your kind replies. I've been trying to keep up, but I'm not too good with this whole Reddit thing yet, so please bear with me if I haven't replied to everyone. Your support really means a lot to me. I wanted to update you all because, after I posted earlier today, something strange happened. Somehow, Jenna found out about it. I honestly don't know how. This is all so new to me. I just created this account for some advice, and I didn't think anyone would find out. But not long after I posted, I got a text from her saying, "You need to stop talking to strangers about our family. I'm really disappointed in you." Then, my son called me, and he was upset, telling me I shouldn't be sharing private things like this. He said I was embarrassing the family, and that I need to keep things within the family. I'm not sure how she found out, but now it feels like she's been keeping track of me. Does anyone have any idea how she could have figured this out? I'm not very tech savvy. I created this account today, and I definitely didn't give her the password. I'm just feeling more and more unsettled, and I don't know who to trust anymore. Story 2. Aita for not letting my mother-in-law see my baby until I put cameras up in my home. I 25F had a baby boy with my 27M husband 4 months ago. His mom, my mother-in-law, has some old school backwards thinking that I do not agree with. She spanked her kids, let them cry it out when they were babies, etc. She tries to impose those thoughts on me, and I tell her I do not like that way of thinking and will not be doing that with my child or future children. One thing she did was put cereal in her kids' bottles. She said it to me about 3 weeks ago, and I told her no because that will increase the chance of gagging or inhaling that liquid into his lungs, and I told her that I will not be doing it, My husband said he will not be doing it and I told her she will not be doing it. I caught her on Saturday feeding him his bottle with Fruit Loops mixed in when I came downstairs from taking a nap. I completely lost it and told her to get out of my house. She told me I can't do that because this is her son's house too, and I told her I would just call the police because she's refusing to leave. She left but stayed in her car across the street until my husband came home from work. She tried crying and acting like I was the bad person. He told her that he asked her to stop when he caught her last week. I got pissed because he didn't tell me that. I was furious with both of them at that point. I told her she would never be allowed to watch him or any children I have in the future again, and she has completely lost my trust. She's never allowed in our home again. My husband has tried to smooth things over and I'm not having it. I told him the only way she'd be allowed back in our home was when I put cameras up and she cannot go out of my sight with again. She blew up at me in the group chat that we have with her, myself, my mother, my father, my husband's 2 sisters, and my sister. She called me controlling, a helicopter parent, a bad parent, etc. My family was not happy about the way she talked to me and told her she needs to back off, and his side of the family was more so on her side and said I was overreacting a bit because the baby is okay. One of his sisters did say she crossed a line and she's done that with her kid when she popped her daughter in the mouth, and that's why she's not allowed to be with her daughter by herself. I don't think I'm wrong. Relevant comments. Commenter. NTA, your husband needs to step up and establish the boundary though. Don't let that woman in your house without cameras, and all visits should be supervised by you until she has earned your trust back. She needs to understand that she doesn't get to choose how to parent your child, and needs to respect your rules if she wants to be in your child's life. Commenter. Fruit Loops? Good grief. When you said cereal, I thought you meant like baby grade rice cereal, that stuff that dissolves in formula and helps supplement when you've got a good feeder that needs a little extra oomph, once in a while. I breastfed and was a terrible producer. I had a devil of a time at first and finally hit upon supplementing with formula and, at the first feeding of the day, would add a teeny bit of rice cereal to it. He's now a 6'3" 30-year-old. But Fruit Loops? I have no words. NTA. She sounds like a nightmare. Story 3, Aita for moving all my daughter's belongings to my parents' house and leaving nothing for my husband's affair kid. Aita for this? My husband told me Saturday that he'd had an affair and had a kid from it. Our kids are 14 months and 10 feet and this child is 9 feet. Something happened to her mother in the last couple weeks. I was a little too busy screaming at him to listen to the details, and he was leaving to go get her. My daughter came to me crying saying that he told her she had to share her room and her stuff with this girl for now. I called my parents and they agreed to her staying in their guest room, 2-bedroom condo, so my son and I are staying at the house. We packed her stuff and Monday my parents, sister, BIL, and nephews helped us move all her stuff to my parents' place. They also helped put locks on my bedroom and my son's bedroom. We moved all my husband's stuff from my bedroom to the 4th bedroom that he used as a home office. Yesterday evening my husband got home with his affair kid. He got mad about all the stuff being gone and nothing being left for her. She's from a much warmer area and doesn't have clothes for the cold here. We live in the northern part of the US. This morning he caught me in the kitchen to complain to me about it again and said I was being cruel by not making my daughter share with her. Aita? Relevant comments. Commenter. Definitely NTA for refusing to make your daughter share her belongings with your husband's affair child, but also, what is your ultimate game plan here? From the post, it sounds like you have completely relocated your daughter to her grandparents' house. Even if she gets to keep all her stuff with her, it's not fair to move her out of the home just to safeguard her belongings. Honestly, it sounds like you need to kick husband to the curb and let him figure out how he needs to care for his affair child. If you intend to stay with husband for some reason, then you need to seriously work through those logistics to ensure your daughter can come home, and figure out how your husband's affair child factors into that equation. Commenter. NTA. His plan was to make your daughter share? Not go out and buy her some essentials to get by while assessing what else is going to be needed? Make both girls share a room with a stranger out of the blue? And not as a question of a couple of weeks but permanently? Not give up his home office to create a bedroom for her? Everything he was planning on was guaranteed to undermine your daughter's sense of security, safety, and sense of her place within your family. Yeah, the affair daughter is here and needs to be taken care of. But not by undermining your other children unless it is the absolute last and therefore necessary option. Plus, the sheer audacity to expect that he just got to unilaterally dictate that to your daughter, not discuss with you and agree together on what would happen. OP, I'm going to file for divorce. My plan right now is for my daughter to stay with my parents until he moves out or I move out. Commenter. NTA. His plan was to make your daughter share, Not go out and buy her some essentials to get by while assessing what else is going to be needed? Make both girls share a room with a stranger out of the blue? And not as a question of a couple of weeks but permanently? Not give up his home office to create a bedroom for her? Everything he was planning on was guaranteed to undermine your daughter's sense of security, safety, and sense of her place within your family. Yeah, the affair daughter is here and needs to be taken care of. But not by undermining your other children unless it is the absolute last and therefore necessary option. Plus, the sheer audacity to expect that he just got to unilaterally dictate that to your daughter, not discuss with you and agree together on what would happen. OP. He was going to put her in the office room after cleaning it out and getting her furniture. I just didn't want my daughter to deal with sharing everything she owns in the meantime. Story 4. Aita for not letting my sister-in-law live with us indefinitely. My 36F husband's 38M sister, 28F, recently went through a tough breakup and asked if she could stay with us temporarily. She has a history of being irresponsible, often quitting jobs and relying on family to bail her out. My husband convinced me to let her stay for 2 months max, with the understanding that she would get a job and start saving for her own place. At first, things were okay. She mostly stayed in the guest room, but she quickly started pushing boundaries. She began borrowing my clothes and makeup without asking, cooking elaborate meals and leaving a mess, and inviting friends over late at night without letting us know. I confronted her about these things, and she apologized but didn't change. The real issue started when she made zero effort to find a job. She spent her days watching TV, ordering takeout, and complaining about her ex. My husband and I both work full-time, so we'd come home to a messy house and her lounging around. Last week, I sat her down and told her that since it's been 3 months, she needed to leave in 2 weeks. She broke down crying, saying I was being heartless and she had nowhere else to go. My husband sided with her, saying I was being too rigid, and that she just needed a little more time. I told him that if he wanted her to stay longer, he needed to take responsibility for her, meaning he'd need to handle her meals, clean up after her, and manage her behavior. He got defensive and said I was making this into a power struggle. Now, my sister-in-law is telling the whole family that I'm kicking her out while she's struggling, and they're calling me selfish. I think I've been more than fair, but my husband is still upset with me, and I'm wondering if I'm being too harsh. Aita. Relevant comments. Commenter. You agreed to let her freeload, stay in your home, for 2 months. You've generously allowed her to stay an extra month. What exactly are you supposed to do? She's an absolute vampire, sucking the life out of your marriage, your finances and your home life. And on top of it all, your husband, who agreed to the 2-month deadline, is taking her side? I'm sorry, but that's way too much for you to excuse. She went through a breakup, boo-hoo, it happens, but that doesn't give her the right to leech off her family indefinitely. I'll never understand these people who want to stay when they're not wanted. But then again, I found my own place to live after my husband of over 35 years walked out. I kept my job and worked hard to move on. She needs to grow up and get out. Like yesterday. NTA. Story 5. Aita for being upset that my husband was adamant on going to a football game less than 24 hours after the birth of our child. My husband, 27M, and myself, 26F, have welcomed our beautiful new baby girl to the world on Monday evening just before midnight. She was 6 weeks early, and will need 5-6 days support in the neonatal unit, with me being an inpatient with her. We have an almost 3-year-old at home. When I went into labor on Monday, we dropped my toddler off with my mom, who watched her overnight on the Monday night and all of Tuesday. On Tuesday evening, my mom was going to bring our toddler into the hospital at 6 p.m., for them to meet and for us to witness our children meeting for the first time. When I told my husband, he told me he needs to leave the hospital by 5 p.m., to make it in time for the football game. I told him he has his daughter tonight, and don't know how he's going to manage to go to the game. He told me he assumed my mom would be watching our daughter, and he would go to the game. I told him he is her father, and we don't have any other option as I am in the hospital. He argued with me, the day after a horrific labor, on and on and on, and continuously pushed the motion that he wanted to go to the game. I was in complete shock that he was willing to give up the opportunity to see his daughter after a few days, and the opportunity to see his daughters meet each other, and would rather be at a game than support me postnatal. For context, he is back at work today, Wednesday, and is now not off work until Saturday, and my mom is having our toddler for the next 4 days. My husband works 9 a.m. to 1 a.m. I feel awful her watching her for this long, so assumed when my husband was available to take her for the evening, we would jump at the opportunity to give my parents a break rather than expect yet another night from her so my OH can go to a stupid random football game that is not important. I broke down, and told him how hurt I was, And he stubbornly stuck to his point. I have been alone in this hospital bed all day. He texted me at 9 a.m. to ask who was collecting my daughter from nursery, asked how our baby was and has not contacted me since. It's now 5 p.m. I feel robbed of some beautiful moments in my life, and hurt from his actions. And now just lonely. I don't think he genuinely sees my point of view at all. Aita? Edit. No, he did not end up going to the game. I told him my parents couldn't have our toddler overnight and there was no option. He huffed, said fine, and canceled with his friend who he had planned to go with. This was after he tried to schedule for another very distant family member of his to have our toddler. But that didn't work out, as I told him I would never forgive him if he stopped me being able to witness our children meet. He'd need to leave the hospital at 5 p.m., and my mum wasn't turning up with our toddler until 6 p.m. My husband left the room when my mum was in the hospital with me, and I broke down to her, and briefly explained to her. I said I felt like it was some sort of joke. She replied, "Was he joking?" And I said no, he was deadly serious. He then walked in the room and we didn't mention it again. My parents left the hospital, and then my husband and toddler left together shortly after. He didn't say anything to me, just left me there. I felt so abandoned and am sat waiting on an apology that I fear will never come. Story 6. My 40F husband, 45M, of 20 years says he no longer wants sex. How do I tell him I can't live without it? We haven't had sex properly for a few years. I've wanked him and blown him a few times and he's fingered me to orgasm a few times, but that's it. He's been to the doctors and his testosterone levels are good. We've been to couples therapy, single therapy, and sex therapy, but nothing has worked. He just says he's never in the mood for sex and can't be bothered. He only works part-time, which was his choice, and I work full-time. We have no problems or any other problems, so there's nothing I know of that is ruining his sex drive. About a week ago he came to me and said he'd appreciate it if we didn't talk about sex anymore. He doesn't need or want it and he's not interested in it at all anymore. I've tried to talk to him to ask if it's me in the past and he said no, he just doesn't feel the need for it. The thing is I'm desperate for it. I don't want to cheat and I don't want to lose him. But I can't for forever without it. I need to ask him if I can have sex outside the marriage, but I don't know how. Update. Thank you everyone for your support and messages, it means a lot. Well, it's 6 a.m. here and we spent 4 hours talking about it last night until he stormed off to stay at his friend's house. That's how well the talk went. Just to clear a few things up from my original post. All his levels were above average for his age when tested, and the doctors concluded there is no medical reason for his lack of libido. In bed every night he sleeps naked next to me and I can see and feel he is physically able to get hard. People asked me if he was depressed and I don't think he is, but you never truly know what is happening in someone's head. He said his last job was stressing him out, so we agreed that he would just work part-time. On that subject, a few people have said I'm only with him for his money. Well, I earn £70,000 a year and he earns between £10,000 to £15,000 a year, so no, I'm not. People asked if I had got fat. My weight has never been more than 5 pounds difference, up or down, than the say we met, and I'm currently 9 stone 6, 132 pounds to my American friends, at 5 feet 7 tall. I've got big boobs, so they have gotten a bit saggier, but I can't help that. I was asked about frequency. At first we fucked a lot, then within 5 years it was down to once a month, and now the last time we have full sex was 4 years ago. Last time he fingered me was 2 years ago and I gave him head 3 months ago. People asked if he's cheating, gay, or watched porn. I've searched his phone and never seen anything to suggest that. He's not secretive with his phone at all. Over the years I've told him if he wants to explore his sexuality or other people he can. I've offered him threesomes. I've told him I will do anything sexual he wants, nothing is off limits. He wasn't interested. So last night I sat him down and told him, I know you don't like talking about this and I respect the fact you don't want sex anymore, but I do. So either open up the relationship so I can get my sex somewhere else or I'm leaving. That brought on hours of ranting and raving. I'm a sex addict, I'm a slag, I don't love him, I've got no respect for myself, etc., etc. I stayed calm and said, you either need to tell me why you don't want to have sex with me, let me have sex outside the marriage, or we'll split up as we aren't compatible. Are you asexual, gay, depressed? Just don't find me attractive? He said it's none of those things, he just doesn't enjoy sex. It's boring and he's got no interest in pleasing other people either, he'd just rather wank. When I asked him why we had so much sex at the start, he said it was just to shut me up. I said, you've slept with over 50 people but you don't like sex? He said he did it because everyone else and he was trying to find it, there was a reason everyone enjoyed it but he realized she just didn't. I wasn't sure I believed him, so I said, fine. If that is true, I'll never bother you for sex again, but can I please have sex with other people? You can even choose them if you want to make you more comfortable. You can be in control of it all, just pick someone for me a couple of times a month, you can even watch if you want. Or we can keep it completely separate and you'll never know anything. I won't tell you when I'm having sex or who with. I don't mind what the arrangement is as long as I can have sex. He just said no fucking way, and stormed out the door to his friend's house. So that's where we are. He's obviously told his friends, as I've had messages from some of them saying I'm a slag and a cheater. I messaged my husband just now after he didn't answer the phone even though he's awake and said, "You leaving and getting your friends to gang up on me tells me everything I need to know. I'll let you decide whether you want to stay in the house or not, but if you choose to stay I will only be paying for my half of the mortgage until it's sold, then you're on your own. I don't care what you tell people, I have all the proof of our problems over text message as you are a coward and that's how you communicate. Goodbye, Daryl. It's heartbreaking, but I can't carry on feeling disrespected, and the fact he has his friends insulting me and harassing me is too much. Feels like he's one step away from Peaky Blinders' post on social media about how silent and strong he is. So that's where I am. No answers on the sex problem, and there is no way I'm staying with after the name calling, storming out, and harassment by his friends. I don't know what more I could have done for this man. TLDR. Tried talking and it didn't go well. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. Seems like he's the issue, especially after telling all his friends and twisting what's been going on. I think it's easier to say you shouldn't leave a marriage or relationship because of lack of sex, but this is so much more. He's a very selfish person, as it seems like he's happy to just sort himself out but isn't willing to put any effort into helping you or work anything out. Commenter 2. So, he is asexual? At least in the sense that he doesn't like sex, but still wanks. Anyway, he's not understanding you nor trying to address your needs, so that's probably it for the relationship. Story 7. Aita, for not letting my husband control the money in our house. My husband and I have been married for over a year and he knows what I make hourly, but I don't just hand money over to him. Backstory. 10 years my kid's dad took control of my bank account and income, spent my savings and gave me an allowance of $50 a week from my check. This had to cover gas, groceries and diapers. I gave birth to our second child a year and a half later and would walk to the store so I would have gas for work. One day, I had to make a decision on buying diapers for my oldest or my newborn. I cried in the diaper section because I couldn't believe my life had gotten to this point. I'll never forget the kind person who purchased the diapers for my children and gave me extra money to hide. When I had gotten home I was belittled and accused of stealing money to buy so much. When I explained $50 a week for 4 of us including diapers wasn't enough, he told me to figure it out. I asked for $100 a week. Eventually, I convinced him to allow me more money. 3 months later I left and swore I'd never allow another man to do that again. Present day 10 years later, my husband was fully aware that I came with about $18,000 in credit card debt. I've successfully paid almost all of it in full in 2 years. Made it possible, by not having my own house, leech of an ex with 4 kids, and no utilities. Am responsible for groceries for our family of 5, phone bill for us, and car insurance. I have my car payment and 1 credit card. My husband pays the utilities and house payment. We recently purchased a new-to-us camper and he took a loan on it and put the money I got from my totaled camper in the bank, so he has that as well as his vehicle payment. He says I should be giving him $300 or more a month for savings and to help with the utilities, and I won't. If something happens to him, I can't access that account to pay bills, etc. I don't believe him on his account at all. I opened an account 5 months ago and have $250 a check placed into it for safekeeping. I also must get school supplies, kids' clothes, etc. His ex-wife, they split the cost 50-50 for their daughter, but my ex and I are not on those types of terms. My husband gets huffy that my situation isn't like his, but I told him it is what it is. Every pay period he will ask me for money for utilities and I brush it off or say, if you buy groceries, sure. He says, I don't know how to save money and he should have what is left of my check each week for vacation, going to dinner, etc. I won't do it. The mere thought of having an allowance again terrifies me. Do I overspend some weeks? Yes, but I don't use a credit card to buy items anymore. I don't rob Peter to pay Paul like I did in 2020. I budget right down to coupons for groceries and what my grocery bill will be before I enter the store. He says I need to trust him and let him hold on to all of our money together because his savings account is my savings account also. I just can't bring myself to do this unless I can have full access to the account as well. I don't see that being an option. He recently sold a vehicle and put $16,000 in the savings and gave me $1,000 to spend on whatever I wanted to. So I put $200 in the bank, bought my kids each one Christmas gift early, at a friend's house so I don't hand it over now that we're on sale, and I paid $200 a piece per item, ordered myself new glasses. $275, And contacts, $150. I wanted a hoodie for $20 and he said I gave you money, did you spend it already? I said kind of. He knew what I did with it. And he said he wasn't buying the hoodie because I'm irresponsible with money and he should have never given me the $1,000 and asked for receipts on everything I bought. He knew I went to the eye doctor, he knew how much I paid, and he knew about the gifts I got now because I saved more than I spent on the Christmas gifts. He's been very pushy about just holding all the money that his friends are beginning to make comments about it. Telling me I need to pay when we go out for drinks, telling me I need to pull that debit card out and pay the tab. I probably have $10,000 in the bank. I leave the tip. I don't drink when we go out aside from water. Occasionally we'll have a sipper, but I won't risk a DUI. I tip because the bartenders are usually really good making sure my water is full all the time and I never go without it. So I take care of them. Aita for not letting my husband have control of all the money. Edit. I want to be clear, the debt I acquired and had when we moved in together was from a past relationship, taking a huge pay cut and COVID. During COVID it killed my income. I hardly worked and was continuing looking for work while homeschooling both my kids. I robbed Peter to pay Paul, and my ex-BF who lived with me didn't want to help with anything and was a huge financial burden. I had to get that reeled in. Edit 2. Our incomes are similar currently. In January, I was put up for a promotion, and once my training is complete, my monthly income will be 1.5 more than his current monthly income. My current income base off his base pay and not OT yearly is about $6,000 a year difference annually and can go up to $20,000 with OT. Edit 3. His bills amount to roughly $700 a month, house is $400, leaving $300 openly for gas, water, electric. Mine, car insurance, $250 a month. It just changed again because he sold a vehicle and bought a different one. Last month, it was $337, phone a little over $264.03 includes internet, groceries, which range weekly from $200 to $400 a week depending on produce, meat purchasing, etc. Which is a big reason why I haven't been helping with household bills. I also pay for all streaming services, which can be ridiculous too. Update, I took some of your suggestions previously. Asked him to go to marriage counseling and he declined because he didn't have any issues in our marriage except me. Suggested a joint bank account for bills and bills alone, and we have separate accounts for our savings. This argument was pretty much the end of our marriage for me. I opened my own savings account at a different bank than I currently banked through. I didn't have a debit card, and if I needed to pull money out I had to physically go to the bank. I picked up side cleaning jobs for spending money so I wouldn't really touch either account I had. We went to a sporting event with our children. I have 2, he has 1 from previous relationships. After the event the kids wanted fast food, which was okay by me. It was late and I didn't want to cook. He asked me when we won the lottery and I told him I didn't feel like cooking, so it was fine, and handed him $20. 3 days later, I went to work. Apparently he had other decisions that came with the money in his account that he wanted me to put money into. I came home to the ugliest damn car in our driveway. He wasn't home, he was at the bar, so when he pulled in the driveway I pretended to be sleeping so I wouldn't blow up that night on him. Since he had been drinking for 5 hours I knew it wasn't the best idea anyway. He was mad at me when I woke up in the morning because I didn't say goodnight to him and was asleep by the time he got home. He said I don't have to worry because he was going to take a loan out on the car to put the money back in his savings account. The same thing he did with the camper when I gave him money for it. Had I actually given him money to put in the savings account, it wasn't our money, it was his money. Financial decisions were his and his alone apparently. I started looking for an apartment when I got to work, and within 3 hours I was signing paperwork and getting a cashier's check for a security deposit. I told him the day before I was moving that I was leaving, and he asked me how I could this without taking to him. I said, well, you bought a car without talking to me first, so I got an apartment without your permission. Filed for divorce on my birthday. I've been called a gold digger, accused of having an affair, and being blamed for his financial problems he is currently in. The camper I practically paid for, and he decided to get a loan on it to have money in his savings account. He doesn't want any more and said I have to pay for the cost of the loan to get it out from under him when I don't see why I should have to. Since I gave him cash, I don't have a trail on what it was for when I gave him the money, nor did he ever put it in the bank after I gave it to him. So if I want the camper I don't really have a choice but to do it. He's asked for cash for the camper and I literally laughed out loud at him and said I did that once already and I'm not doing it again and having to pay additional anymore. He calls me asking me for the truth and if I was really cheating on him, and that caused for me to leave because I wasn't watering his garden. I told him marriages end for others things and not just affairs, and told him to seek therapy because he has a lot of unresolved issues from his previous marriages if he assumes I cheated on him. I'm getting a divorce. After divorce I'll be looking to purchase my own home and having absolutely no contact with him. My children and I are thriving already in our little apartment and I'm managing my money very well. He wanted someone to depend on him and need him. That just wasn't me. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you enjoyed our videos, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated with our latest ones. Have a great day.